you're going to be out here very long, you're going to have someone hit you. You're going to have an accident, or an accident's going to happen to you. You're going to be involved in something. How you handle this is going to make all the difference on whether it's a fault, no fault, or whether you even keep your job. Handling an accident is more important than the accident some days. Even the most minor accidents out here can be a big deal. A lot of people dismiss things they probably shouldn't. The most minor accidents, you know, depending on who you work for or what happens, you know, you can lose your job, your insurance rates can go up, you have damage to your truck, and you're looking at a potential minivan if the accident happens after 2 a.m. So, you have to be able to really have an idea of what you're doing, but you also have to have, you know, the wits about you to do the right thing. What is the right thing? Well, the right thing depends on the attitude, or the right thing depends on the accident. And, you know, whether the cops are called or whether, you know, you just handle it on your own in the parking lot. In this modern age, everybody has a camera. And what got me thinking about this the other day was, had a guy run into me. Didn't do anything, didn't do any real damage. Folded a mirror up. That's why the mirror brackets are shaped that way. They just fold right in. And most of these trucks now have breakaway mirrors, which is a good thing. So the guy hits me. The reason I woke up at 2:45 in the morning was because he hit me. The truck rocked. I got up. I'm sitting there looking at, you know, see my mirror folded in. He's parked next to me. I watch him get out of his truck, walk back, look at my mirror, go back to his truck, and try to back in. And I said, dude, you hit me. No, I didn't. I watched you hit me. I watched you come out and watch you hit me. More importantly, my dash cam watched you hit me. It watched you get out and look at the damage. Don't lie about it. Lying about it's not going to get you anywhere. Lying about it will get you fired. I've seen more guys fired from their job because they lied about an accident. They were asked a point-blank question, and they would have said, hey, you know, I made a mistake. The problem was they didn't get out of it. They didn't get out in front of it earlier. They sat there and thought maybe nobody would notice, or maybe it'd go away, or maybe they wouldn't get caught. Got a story about that. I may have told this story on another video a couple years back about dash cams, but I think I did, I'm not sure. But for all of you that haven't, I'll just repeat it. I was in North Platte and I watched a guy do about $2,000 to $3,000 worth of damage to another truck. It was a very innocent mistake. He lightly tapped it. But as you know, these trucks are plastic. He hit it with his duals trying to jackknife into a spot. And he panicked. He's probably a new guy. He panicked. Watched him pull out. I know he got out and looked. And he knew what he did. Let's just cut to the chase. He knew what he did. Well, he took off. He panicked. He took the heck off. The truck he hit had a dash cam. Got him. The truck next to him had a dash cam. They got it. The truck on the other side of him, me, had a dash cam. You know the story. But not only that, the two trucks on the other side had dash cams, which captured it from the other angle. They had like 7 angles of this accident. I took off. You know, he probably lost his job. The company he was driving for, I would guarantee that he probably, if he didn't lose his job, he's probably, yeah, gotten a lot of trouble. Should have just stayed. And, you know, owned your crap. So you have to be very mindful about your surroundings. You're going to hit somebody, and somebody's going to hit you. And it's very important that when you're at fault, you own it. That right there, like I said, will make all the difference in the world. Now, I actually have a fairly new trailer, so there's not a whole lot of damage on it. Important thing is when you pick up, you know, what you're doing, when you pick up your load, go over your trailer. This is where it starts. You got to look around and make sure that things aren't beat up. You can see it, things like this are pretty much just par for the course. I don't worry about these unless they're really good scrapes. That right there is from somebody backing into you. This guy backed in next to me with no respect for personal boundaries. Little bumps and scrapes and stuff like that are really not a big deal on these trailers. The shag trucks do more damage than this. I had a bunch of pictures of that a while back. I saw a shag truck. I know he dropped a loaded trailer off his shag truck because he was in a hurry and bent the landing gears out. And miraculously, they were more forthcoming and very, very eager for me to get that trailer out of the yard. They never admitted that they did it. But I had to take a whole bunch of pictures and, you know, note it before I took off. The important thing is this. Go over your trailer and make sure these shag trucks are the leading cause of most damage on trailers. Just cover yourself when you're getting those. But those aren't really accidents. Those are just bumps and scrapes, and they happen. So here's an accident. So this was one I had to recover. This was a very serious wreck, but he only clipped a U-Haul. It doesn't take much. What makes that accident so serious is everybody was fine. The load was trashed. The load got completely rejected. I had to pick it up, drag it to Salt Lake City. It was a big mess. And the load was rejected because there was accident debris in the load. Yeah, so that was a complete dumpster fire. But what made that load so serious wasn't the accident, because accidents do happen. He clipped a U-Haul truck. And those U-Haul trucks are built stout. That U-Haul truck had about 4 scratches in it, and it peeled that trailer open like a can opener. And the truck, remarkably, was fine too. Had a cut steer tire. But here's what made that accident so serious. Was the U-Haul was parking on the side of the road. And the guy didn't get over. He wasn't paying attention. I don't know if he couldn't get over, if he didn't get over, he didn't slow down, or I don't know what happened. This is where a camera is so vitally important. And I don't know if the guy kept his job or not. I sincerely hope he did, because like I said, accidents do happen. But when you got a distressed vehicle, you probably should get over if possible. If not, slow down and make it known that you're coming. But you can't hide accident damage like this. So the first thing you need, like I get with a camera, is you need to be very straightforward with what happened. You know, everybody has a tendency to try to sugarcoat and kind of swing things into their favor. Sometimes doing that can get you in a whole lot more trouble than it would have been if you would have just been like, hey, I really messed up. I had posted this one time before. It was a video that was sent to me from a buddy of mine, from a mutual friend. Snowy and icy, and this guy was doing, he was doing 70, 75. He had no business going this fast. But if you knew the guy, he's cocky and impulsive. But you'll see here in a minute, it just, once it gets away from you, you're done. And here we go. This actually ended up being not as serious as it could have been, because he literally missed everything. And I'm sure it was a whole lot more intense in person, but he scratched up the fender and ruined a little bit of the guy's fence right there. Now, truthfully, we were completely mystified about how this guy actually kept his job, because we know him. He's just one of those loose cannons. And He's one of those guys that is always constantly trying to build points when there's no points to build. If I had a trucking company and I had a guy like him, I would look for any excuse to let him go, because these guys just, they're not good for the company. But it was on video. There was nothing he could have done. But the accident was completely preventable. These are the accidents with the insurance companies that they nail you for. This was 100% preventable. And I'll tell you why. It doesn't look like he was doing 75 in the film. It really doesn't. You can tell he was moving, though. What's going to happen, just like when a reefer goes down or a load gets rejected because they say the reefer was bad or something, first thing they do is download the computer. First thing. They want to know how fast you were doing. Was your foot on the throttle? Was your foot on the brake? Was your foot... These trucks record everything. You're not getting away with it. If you're doing 75 and you try to say, no, I was just moving along, well, the camera looks different. Well, it's a camera. How are you going to tell? Well, let's download the computer. You're done. Don't try to hide it. Don't be reckless, especially in situations like that. But this is one of those things that was completely manageable, and he managed it poorly. But somehow he still kept his job. I don't think he's working for that guy anymore. I think there was other things. But the fact of the matter is, these are the accidents that the insurance will get you on. And these are the ones that cause people to lose their jobs. It wasn't because he wrecked the truck. It was because he was driving dangerously. That, you know, he could have wrecked the truck at 25 or 30 miles an hour and had a much worse accident. Guy got really lucky. So, just be careful. This right here was one company truck trying to tow another company truck, and they caused about $3,000 worth of damage trying to be impatient.
Oh shit, you just...
This right here will get you fired.
Into each other.
Don't do this. So, from an outside perspective, that video was actually really funny to watch. It was just... Instead of just waiting for the tow truck, which showed up literally 3 minutes later, guys got panicked. They were blocking a fuel island up there in Mont Eagle. And sometimes trucks break in fuel islands. It's embarrassing. It's inconvenient for everybody. But sometimes you just have to leave it alone. These guys thought that they would move the truck out of the fuel island, clear the fuel island, and just be good guys about it. I guarantee being a good guy got somebody fired over that deal. The first thing they did was they wrapped the tow rope. It was a rope, not a chain, around the taillight panel of the one truck. Then they wrapped the other strap. They didn't wrap it through an eyelet or a frame mount or anything like that. I watched him pull the hood up, wrap it around the steering axle, and I remember thinking, well, we're either going to tear up this truck or we're going to tear up this truck, or it's all going to come together. Because I truly was expecting the guy to yank it, because they pulled it out from under a trailer. And I was expecting the steer axle to come off, honestly. And I still don't know if he actually knocked it out of alignment doing that. He may have. These are very robust trucks, but they're not made to do that. And I watched it come out, and he literally smacked into the truck in front of him twice, and the second time was because the tow rope got slack. He ran over the tow rope, which immediately just brought the front truck to a stop, and he ran into the back, and you literally watched the hood twist and bend and come up, probably about 1.5 to 2 feet. It literally smacked. Yeah, it was rough. And doing things like that, you should never do things like that. If you want to keep your job and you want to have a good working environment, let the company make the decisions. And if you're broke down on a fuel island, just stay broke on the fuel island. If you got a tow truck coming, you sit there an hour, you sit there 2, tough luck. There's nothing you can do. Don't ask for any help. Don't get any help. If you own the truck, get a tow truck. If you got a company, let them make the decision, because I guarantee you, you don't want to be those two guys when the boss talked to them to find out what happened. And lastly, this was me in the Crown Vic. This happened, a little while back. I never really talked about it because I had to file an insurance thing, and it's a hit and run with a guy with a dealer tag, and this turned out to be a complete mess. I did get satisfaction, but it took a bit of legwork on my own because I actually had to catch him. He ran. That accident put a real bad taste in my mouth towards the police. As much as I like to support the police and the officers and all that, I filed a police report. They blew it off before I could even assess a damage. They assigned a damage, pencil whipped it, and basically told me to go F myself. But the guy that hit me had a dealer tag, and dealers don't want this on their insurance because their insurance is high enough. Turns out it was a service loaner. I told the guys, when the cops, I said, I can make one phone call and find out whose tag that is, but this is your job. They didn't do their job. So I went to work and did mine. First thing I did was I called the insurance company. Straight up. Sent him the video. Said the guy hit me. And mind you, I actually confronted the guy. I chased him down. I managed to get him stopped. Took 14 miles. He ran and ran and ran. And then he ran again, but I know where he lives now. Which was funny because he's all screaming about living, and he turns out he lives right across the street from my best friend. So sometimes I take the Crown Vic over and park in his driveway just to irritate him. But he lives, you know, me chasing the guy, that's where I went wrong, and I'm going to bring that up. I had everything I needed on camera. I should have never chased the guy. I should have just let him go. I didn't know how badly my car was messed up. And the part that made me the maddest was if he would have just stopped and seen that it was no big deal. It really was, and he did some damage. You know, there was damage done, but it was minimal. And I would have been like, dude, let's just get out of here. I would have been cool about it. But he wanted to run. This is what like I told you about that other driver in the parking lot at the Flying J. There's no point in running. Everybody has a camera. And since that accident, that car's got a much better camera in it now. You know, so I reported to the insurance company, and they got the tag, and all of a sudden, click, 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 click. Everything started to happen. The cops, useless. The insurance company was where it was at. You know, I really didn't write off any claims or anything on this car because the damage was minimal, and I'm replacing those parts anyways. Well, not really. Well, I plan on it. But I went to the dealership and said, I want satisfaction. And they hem-hawed. They said, well, you know, that's really for this other stuff. I said, no. I just cut them off. And that's what you have to do. I cut them off and said, see that car out there with that same number on it? This is your tag. We're going to solve this. I said, I can be really cool right now, or I can I said, I filed an investigative claim, but I can file a monetary claim if you want. And suddenly, everybody was really nice. Got it taken care of. Everything was kosher, you know, and sometimes that's what you have to do. But you have to gauge these things per situation. And I got very fortunate with this, but you may not be, but that's all about your attitude and how you approach it to begin with. And if there's any kind of lawsuit or anything involved, you have to let the lawyers handle it, and don't ever approach anybody without your lawyer if there's a lawsuit involved. I'm not a lawyer, but I know enough to know that don't ever go in it alone. So at this point, you're probably wondering, what was the point of this whole video? The point of this video is to be professional. If something happens, you have to own it. If somebody else damages you, it's your job to make sure that you're made whole. Protect yourself. Use cameras. We had a guy at my last job who lost his job because a drunk left a car in the middle of the road, and he hit him in the middle of the night. Guy claimed the car was on the side of the road. The car was not on the side of the road. But the cops, in their usual proficient manner, sided with the driver, and the truck driver lost his job. And this was what made me get a camera, because I'd heard this 2 or 3 times up to this point. If I'd had a camera, I'd still have my job. Guys, even in your personal vehicles, protect yourself. If something happens and you're at fault, own it. It's a lot better than trying to hide it. You know, in this business, I've had a lot of things damaged, and I've damaged a lot of things. And you have to be an adult about this, because trying to, especially in today's day and age, you're just not getting away with anything anymore. You know, I had a guy hit me, back into me in Nashville, there at the south of Nashville at the TA. It was at Antioch. Backed right into me. Well, I watched him. I could see the scrapes on the side of my trailer. It wasn't a big deal. He didn't pierce the skin. He just rubbed it. It was nothing to lose any sleep over. And the first thing he did was lie about it. I didn't hit you. I said, yeah, you did. And he wants to flex and be all yell and this and that. And I just turned around and started making phone calls. And suddenly, wait. Yeah. Like I've said before, you've got to stay one move ahead of these guys. And when it's time to be an adult, you have to be an adult. You know, if you get in an accident or you damage something, these things are very expensive. These trailers cost as much as a house. These trucks cost more than a house. You have to weigh everything carefully and be a professional about it. Things are going to get damaged, but you're going to be in a lot better position if you own it. That's all I'm trying to say, is you have to own it. Don't hide it. Don't try to con it. Don't try to spin it. Don't try to protect yourself. And I guarantee you, if you tell the truth and you have a camera and you own it, regardless of what happens initially, you're going to come out on the winning end no matter what. Bad things happen, but sometimes a lot of good things come out of the bad. So just watch yourself, and if you're in an accident, just own it. So I appreciate it. Thanks for watching. See you next video.